Good afternoon. Welcome to the midday or quite late afternoon Mull for Saturday, the 16th of September. Today we had a wonderful seminar and workshop by Reverend Dr. Arnold Mull and his wife Joy, talking about children and how we raise them, and some advice and insights and ideas. And as we listened to them, I had a thought of, well, there's a whole lot of things that yes, I can align with that. I understand that. That's more or less what we did. There are a whole lot of things I thought, that was such good advice. I wish I'd heard that before. I wish I'd been able to do that. Why didn't I do that? I should have thought of that and I didn't. And you have this, I come away with this thought of, I could have done so much better. And I suspect it's probably the same with a lot of life. Maybe I'm just the one, but I suspect many of us, we look back at our lives and we think, I could have done better. There are things I could have done differently. There's things that I could have improved on. And sometimes it's not our fault. We just didn't have the insight and the ideas at the time. But where we look back and we see our faults, we can either, oh, that's useless, or else we can say, acknowledge them, say, I got it wrong, and confess them. And today with Robert Murray McShane's readings, we're reading through 2 Samuel today, chapter 12, where the prophet Nathan goes to David after his affair with Bathsheba. And he probably thought he'd got away with it, because the child was already born. And then Nathan comes and says, essentially, God saw you and you have sinned. And David's response was, yes, I have sinned. And he repents. And one of the consequences of his sin was that the child got sick. And as a result of that, David then fasted and lay on sackcloth and wouldn't eat and prayed that the child would live. But the child didn't, and he died. And when David heard this, he did the following. Then David got up from the ground after he had washed, put on lotions and changed his clothes. He went into the house of the Lord and worshipped. Then he went to his own house, and at his request they served him food, and he ate. And when people questioned him, he said, while the child was living, I could pray and fast, and maybe God would spare him. Now that he's died, he's not going to come back to me. I'm going to go to him, but he's not coming back. And just here we see David fasting and praying. And when the situation turns, he gets up and he goes into the house of the Lord. And he went into the house of the Lord and worshiped. He puts God first. And then he goes home and he has some food because he's been fasting for 7 days. And here you see David in a good light. The situation has changed from David, this hedonist who seduced Bathsheba, to David, the repentant person trying to set things right. And God is always gracious. God always forgives us. And if we turn to him, he is right there. And this comes out in the second reading of this section with Robert Murray McShane from 2 Corinthians chapter 5, where we're told, Paul writes to the Corinthians and he says, we implore you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. And that's what God has done. That's what David discovered. That's what we discovered. And it's an encouragement to us that we can always come back to God, confess, repent, and find forgiveness. So be encouraged as you walk with God day by day, despite our obvious human failures. Be blessed.